Shalom, shalom. This is the Abby Rabbi coming again from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Today I'm talking to you about the unified Word of God. I'm quoting from Hebrews 1 verses 1 and 2. It says, God, after he spoke long ago to the fathers in the prophets in many portions and in many ways, but in his last days he has spoken to us in his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, through also whom he made the world. I'd like to talk to you about in CE 100, there was a man whose name was Marcion, and he became very influential leader of his people. But some of the eldership condemned him and called him a heretic. They said he went against the faith. He spoke against it. But in spite of this, his teachings grew in influence. It affected the whole church and is still being taught today in today's world, in spite of being labeled a heretic. What was his teachings? First of all, he taught that the Hebrew scriptures, he began to refer them as the Old Testament. He was the first person to call them the Old Testament, dividing the new stuff from the old, thereby indicating somehow that these texts no longer had an influence in the people's lives of his day or afterwards. In a lot of Christian circles today, they still divide the Old Testament from the New Testament. In the Netzari faith, in the way of the Netzari, there is no old, there is no new. There is the Torah, the prophets, the poetics, and the continue on. It's all one, it doesn't stop. And he also taught that grace somehow was first revealed in the Brit Hadashah, or what you guys call the New Testament, instead of being taught as originally that it started with Abraham. The nature of biblical revelation is that the fact that somehow we think that somehow the Old Testament belongs just to the Jewish people, the New Testament is for the Gentile. Nothing could be further from the truth. For to say such a thing is to deny or call the Messiah a liar, because he says all truth was inspired word of God, was given to all, whether you're Jewish or Goyim. It's given to all. It's for you too, as well as me, as to the person born in Israel. There's no distinction of peoples. There's no you and versus us. There's no I'm greater because of my blood or my heritage. We are all one in the Messiah. There is no longer Jew nor Greek, bond or free, rich or poor, male or female. We are one. When are you going to get it over with, boys? When are you going to start listening? You call yourself a follower of Messiah, but we have all these divisions and you set one above another. Listen, it's all gobbledygook. Your blood ain't worth a thing. It's the Messiah's blood that covers all. It's not who your mother was, it's who your father is. And it always has been who your father is. If your mother slept around, you don't know your heritage. But the true father did not sleep around. It was Israel who played the harlot. It was Israel who went after other gods. But it was always the father who called his wife back to him and said, come on, honey, clean yourself up. Put this garbage off of you. I am your husband. I love you so I will lay down my life for you. But she would not listen. But before we go condemning the Jews, let's take a look at the Goy world under the banner of Christianity, who still play the harlot, following every false teaching instead of coming back to the Bible and coming back to the scriptures of the Most High God. They don't see as the Old Testament or the writings of the ancients as being relevant for today. Yet in an earlier broadcast here, I read from Isaiah, which points right to today. The Old Testament isn't concluded. There are many prophecies that are still outstanding that we're looking forward to even today. There is no difference between the Old and the New Testament. The God in the Old is still the God in the New. The God in the nighttime is still God of the day. The God of the Jew is the God of the Gentile. But if you have a different God, then you are a pagan. They have different gods. Odin is not equivalent to Yeshua. Mars is not equivalent to Yeshua. Buddha is not an equivalent to Yeshua. Muhammad is not an equivalent to Yeshua. I'm sorry, my Muslim friends. He is not the last prophet and a better prophet. Neither is Joseph Smith. Well, I'll get into another video about those two maybe one of these days, but not right now. I will continue this in part 2 because I'm running out of time. Until the next video, this is the Abba Rabbi saying Shalom.